Right, so what we got here is a programmer is writing a game, and the game uses a 3x3 grid. As soon as you see 3x3 or 2x2 or something, that gives you an indication that there's a 2D array involved here. All right, so there is always a 2D array question with AQA. They need to test your understanding of it, that you can do a loop with inside another loop. So the game is on a square in a grid and is referred to letter and a number. Now, parts of this program just want you to be able to validate. So I understand the 2D array is difficult, but if you've got your selection down, you're pretty good with this. So it shows part of the Python program and checks the grid reference entered by the player. The grid reference is valid if there are exactly 2 characters. So again, I'm going to decompose this here. There must be exactly 2 characters. Now that to me, as a coder, would be, maybe I need to check the length of something. Yeah? Which is already up here, I know, alright? But then again, the first character must be an A, B, or C. Again, we've got some key information here. The second character must be a 1, 2, or a 3. Lots of people did this in many different ways, but let's look at what the code they've given us to begin with. So we've got 2 checks. Basically, this is you know that you're going to continue looping until these are going to be true in some capacity, all right? That's why they're important. And it says, while the length of the square is not equal to 2, it's going to keep asking you, all right? So that's good. Why is this also important? Because if you can see in the paper somewhere that there's some while loops, can they not help you with some of the other questions? It's important to look at bits of code because they can sometimes help you answer other questions if they give you code snippets. So it says here, the function upper, they're telling you the function they want to use. E.g., B1 would be converted to B1, all right, capital B. Extend the program so it completes the other checks needed to make sure it's valid. This is why we did the validation checks as part of the spec. Use the variable check. You must use that. That is a mark there. And I think some of you can see that in the mark scheme now. Some people didn't use that and you made up your own variables. If they give you a variable, you have to use it. There was a mark there. So even if you use it wrong, you still got a mark. Repeat the following steps until it's valid. Get the user to enter the grid reference. So, why did you need to understand 2D arrays here? Because, well, actually, you didn't really need to understand 2D arrays to do that. Now, it's converted it to upper. Now, all you really, really needed to do on this to get the marks is separate the reference. If somebody has typed in C2, this goes back to your understanding of substrings. If that is C, all right, what is the position? If I've put in C2, what is the position of the string of the first letter? What's the position of, sorry, I need to come over here. What is the position of the second one in the string? 1. So you need to check that that is a letter. You need to check that that is a number. There are a multitude of ways of doing it, all right? First thing I'm going to do, all right, is I'm going to create, so this is basically going to keep doing a while loop until they've typed in 2 letters, 2 items. So all I need to do here now is assign letter 1. So I'm going to say letter equals square. So square is what they've typed in. But looking at the string, I can look in position 0 for the letter, and then I'm going to say my num. I don't like using the word number because it's quite generic, but and also number in some coding languages can be used for other things. Yeah, so I'm going to use my num equals square, And this time I'm looking at position 1. So that is mapped to the C, and that is mapped to the 1. There we go. I can now do if statements on both of those quite easily. Now, I haven't marked you down if you did this. Some people will have said, and you may have done if. The long way to do this would have been if somebody did. Let me just show you a few endings here. So some people might have done this. If letter equals A, or letter equals B, or letter equals C, alright, then some people might have gone, okay, so if it's that, now I'm going to check if my num, some people did, equals 1, or my num equals, this is the long way of doing it, or my num equals 3. So if that's true, I jump into that, and if that's true, I say check equals true. That's one method, alright? But then what I might have done is done an else that said print invalid. So that's another method that is not in the mark scheme, but that goes down to show you how you can build an if within an if. Now, what I'm going to do here is write down the other way, which is in the mark scheme, where it is if letter in A, B, C and number in 1, 2, 3 check equals true. Else print invalid. Now, why is this a useful method? Because you can do for loops like that, which you've been taught before. Yeah, you can actually do for name in where you do it looking for the do a for loop to keep printing and so on. But what the in does is it basically checks whether that is in the whole of the string somewhere. Okay, but you can do it with lists as well. So you can do it with arrays. Now, also, common error, we're working with strings here. Some people got that mixed up where they may have done this but not put the speech marks around it, which turned it into a number and does not work. Alright, so that is in a nutshell how to do question 13 in that paper.